My name is Emily, and I'm going to be talking about Game Changer. I'll wait a few minutes for people to show up, but we're going to be discussing Game Changer, which we read during the month of February. So hopefully it's still fresh enough in your minds. And we'll be able to have a great discussion about it. I feel like this book is a really good one for book clubs. So I'm hoping we have a lot to talk about. And my lighting is not great, but it's better than it was. So my room is dark and I've decided I don't like my ring light, so we're just gonna work with it. I have some questions I found. Hi, Dania. I have some questions I found online to help us out here because I read this, I finished it a week ago, and normally I like to have the book read like right before the live show so that it's like fresh in my mind, but I needed to read other things. So this is not as fresh in my mind as I would like it to be. So hopefully it'll be fine. Oh, Spencer, I'm glad you had time to read it. I was hoping you would, because I feel like this is one of those books that like has a lot to give to a discussion. There's just so many things going on. I'm going to set it down so I'm not like waving it around. I don't know where I can see it. Like there. Okay. So I found some questions that we'll use, but I'm just going to start with kind of my initial thoughts. I liked this book. I thought it was really good, but it wasn't my favorite of Neil Shusterman's books. Like The Ark of the Scythe is still just going to be up there for me as like a perfect trilogy. That series was so good that I don't know that any of his other books will ever touch that. But I thought this was really, really interesting. This is one of those books that I feel like I need more time to digest the story. And I almost wish it had been a series rather than a standalone, because I feel like some of the things that happened too fast. And neither I nor the characters had time to really grapple with it. And I can totally see. I went and looked at some reviews today, and I can very much see why some people think this could have been problematic. And I can see it, but I don't necessarily agree with that. But I thought there was just a lot happening in the story. I almost feel like there was too much happening in the story for it to really explore everything that he tried to explore, if that makes sense. There's just a lot. So I would have been happy with a duology, even like just stretch it a little bit and like dig deeper. But I still liked it. I gave it 4 stars. So this was still a book that I enjoyed reading. Yeah, I feel like it was a really fast read too. Very fast paced. Yes, I agree with you, Spencer. The jump where he was in love with Paul was my favorite part of the book. Like, I just felt like that. I wish the whole book had been like that, because I feel like that one was the one where they went the deepest into what that universe was like and how it affected him. Because I feel like some of the jumps were just too quick. And I wish there had been more time to explore further, like what are the ramifications here, like what happens in your life beyond just like the initial like surface level stuff. So I really liked Ash as a character. I thought he was very well written. I liked his voice. I could have done with less football. Like, I get that that's the vehicle for the multiverse jumping thing, but I don't like football. I don't like sports. Like, this was the most sports oriented thing I think I've ever read, and it was fine, but I found myself skimming a lot when it was like, oh, it's football now. Let's just skip to the part where he bumps into somebody and makes a jump happen. Like, I don't know. I just felt like maybe there was a little too much of that, but it still fit the story, so fine, whatever. But I didn't enjoy that. And it was light on football. I agree. It wasn't a huge part of the book, but like I got bored every time it was a football game. So I was just like, can we get through this now? So yeah, I thought that was maybe the thing I liked the least. And it's probably why I gave it a 4-star. That and the fact that I still wish there had been more time to explore. There was a lot of social commentary in the story. And I feel like that's both a strength and a weakness, because on the one hand, I feel like he had so much to say and explore. And I think ultimately this was a book about privilege. And like I wanted a lot of that, but I also feel like he did a lot of commentary on so many things that like it almost was too much. Like pick one thing and make that the focus instead of like, what if we did everything? I don't know. I wonder too, like, I wish I could know how much was edited out, because I feel like he probably had even more stuff that just didn't make the cut. And I'm just curious. But I thought there was a lot of commentary though, and a lot of it was really, really, really interesting. And yeah, but I can see how that could be both a positive and a negative, because it was a lot. And I felt like the end was a little bit too, I don't want to say rushed, but I'll say a little too easy. Um, I don't know. For the amount of stuff and the buildup, it just felt like it happened too fast. And like I wanted there to be a little bit more, or maybe more consequence. I don't know. It felt a little easy. And I will say too, if you've read Dry, I had the same problem with that book as well. I feel like he doesn't do standalones as well as he does series, because in a series he gives himself more time to really flush things out and think out like how things will go. And I think in a standalone, I don't know, it just ends too quickly. So I don't know. That's just me being nitpicky. Overall, I really like the book. But yes, Spencer, I agree. He did need to have some more reflection, because I feel like, I don't know if Ash was supposed to grow more. Um, I feel like he did grow. Like there was definitely character growth, but I feel like he didn't reflect on things as much as I thought he should. Particularly like when I think he did the most reflection when he was gay. I think that was when you get the most self-reflection from Ash. But I feel like it was almost not enough there when he was a girl, and or when she was a girl, or when, I'm trying to think, what was the other one? There were so many different things happening. The whole segregation thing. There needed to be more like reflection on what does this mean for me, and how can I make this world better. I feel like it was a lot about how can Ash make himself better and his tight-knit world better, as opposed to like, what can we do to make everything better? How can we fix this problem overall? Which, I mean, I kind of understand that, because that is a lot to take on as one teenage boy. But also, I just feel like if you're going to go there, go there. Like, dig deeper, make it more. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like this was a book that could have been amazing, but ended up just being fine. It was good. It was a good book. Um, yeah, the whole thing with Leo in jail didn't do it for me. I thought there was going to be more to that, and then there wasn't. It just didn't happen. And I was like, oh, so we're just going to leave that on the back burner, I guess. Yes, I agree with you. That is exactly what I want, Spencer. The Wayward Children, like make novellas about each jump. That would have been amazing. I did find the concept of the parallel universes to be really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen it done this way, where it's like layering, each universe layers on top of the other, and like the people in it are the same people in each universe, and they remember talking to Ash and the conversations that they'd had, but like things had been different. I don't know. I found that all very interesting, because normally I feel like it's separate things, and like in this universe we do this way, and in this universe we do this that way, and they'll never come together, and there's no like overlap. This was really interesting with the overlapping. So I found that whole concept really intriguing. I don't know. I'm a big fan of parallel universe stories, because I just find that concept to be fascinating. And I wish I was smart enough to really understand it all. But I thought the way it was done in this book was really interesting. So I'm going to pull up some questions so we can dig into those, because there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. So I will say this has a little thing at the beginning about if you've read any other Neal Shusterman books and how would this book compare. I will say that this is not my favorite of his books, but I really liked it. I would say if I had to rank, Arc of the Scythe is at the very top. But then I really like the Unwind books, which I still haven't finished all of, and this, and then Dry. I still have a lot of Neal Shusterman to read still. So no, I have not finished the Unwind series. I know my children are angry with me. I read the first two and half of the third one, and then I don't know why I put it aside. I think I was doing something for work and I just like had to stop and do that and never picked it back up. So now I probably need to start that book over because I don't really remember what was happening. So that is a thing I'm going to work on. I do have I have the Skinjackers and I have another series. He has like a couple of trilogies, and I also have a few standalones. I will say that Bruiser is at the top of my list because I heard him say in an interview that he wishes more people would read that because it's a very underrated book, I guess. And it's one of his favorites, I guess, that he's written. So I'm very intrigued by that now. So I have it and I really want to pick it up. And I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to probably be reading that at like the beginning of April because I'm not allowing myself to read it this month since it's historical fiction month, but I really want to pick it up. So that's high priority for me. Okay, so let's see. The first question is about identity. It says, in all realities, there are some common threads in Ash's life despite the changes. Consider the passage from page 69 beginning, "Who are we really?" up to "Nature versus nurture." Discuss these ideas. Is Ash the sum of his experiences? Is there a spark that exists separately? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I did find it interesting that he remained himself in each jump, and he had the memories from the past jumps. But I thought the whole concept of like the things would just come to him. He would just start remembering this life. Thinking about the Midnight Library that we read 2 months ago, and that she didn't know anything about the life she was in, and she had to kind of figure it out as she went along. So I really liked this idea that like he would just start remembering the things like, oh, I don't know where I live in this life, but my muscle memory will take me there. And as he saw people, he would recognize them and remember who they were and what they were in his life. So I found that concept to be really interesting and a lot less stressful for me, the reader, because I hate that feeling of like not knowing what's going on and not knowing how to react or who you can talk to or any of that. So I thought that was really cool. But that doesn't really answer the question. Is Ash the sum of his experiences? I would say yes. I feel like that's true. So I don't know. I would say he was the sum of his experiences because he definitely grew throughout the story as he learned like who he was in each life. I did find it interesting that like in the wealthier life he was doing the drug dealing. In the life where he would least need it, like he didn't need the money. So I found that kind of intriguing that like he realized that he was doing something that was very wrong and found a way to get out of it and fix that in his life. I also found that the relationship with his brother to be interesting, that like in every other existence he and his brother got along, and but not in his original life. So I found that to be interesting. Like what was the issue there that made them not get along there, but in every other universe they were very close. So I found that to be kind of interesting. Okay, what is the effect of Shusterman's choice to narrate the story in Ash's voice? Did it affect the way group members responded to the book? Discuss the possible impact of the novel if it had been written in third person or from another perspective. I don't think you could do this book from a different perspective. I think it needed to be told in Ash's voice. I don't think it would have made as much sense if it was in third person or in a different perspective. I do wish we got more of the Eds. I feel like there was not enough there of them and what they were doing, because that was really weird and interesting, and I wish that we got more of it. But yeah, overall I liked Ash's voice and the way the story was told through him. But I also can see why that would put people off. I was reading some reviews today just to kind of refresh my memory about the book. But I saw a lot of people talking about how it made them upset that it was a cis white male kind of like trying to be the savior for all of his friends who were black or gay or a girl, and like I can see why that would be problematic, but I don't think that Neil Shusterman was intending it that way. I think you can tell a story about privilege through the eyes of a white male who's figuring it all out as he goes, which I think is an important aspect of the story, is that he was aware as the story was progressing of how privileged he was and what that meant for his life. So I found that all to be really interesting, and I think it could have been done better, but it wasn't done poorly. So let me grab my tea. So yeah, I don't know. I think I can understand why some people would find that problematic. Yeah, I agree. I do think it was handled with sensitivity, but could it have been done better? Maybe. So I just feel like I don't know who this book was written for specifically. If it was written for white males, then definitely this was perfect for that. But yeah, I mean, lived experience is a different thing entirely. Let's see. Why is the novel called Game Changer? And talk about the nature of change within the novel. I mean, I feel like that was a pretty obvious, like it's Game Changer because he's changing the world through his games. I did like though when the jumps happened without the football. The most interesting jump I thought was when he like eliminated the drug dealers. I don't know. That was sort of weird and unexpected that he could just get rid of them that way and they're gone forever. Like what happens when they go down that hole? Are they gone? Are they in another universe? Like that was just really weird. And I kind of wish we'd explored it more, because that was like such a weird concept. And I'm like, that's it. Again, wish that had been a duology. I feel like this should have been 2 books because there was just so much there that that was either like not explored enough or hinted at. I don't know. But like the eds, I really wish we had more of that, because that whole concept of this person that was like splitting every time there was a jump, like that was weird, and I wish there was more. Yes, it definitely. I feel like this needed more depth, but I don't know. I enjoyed the ride. I just wish there was more ride to enjoy. Yeah. This was one of those books that I just wish that there had been more. Okay, this question is about perspective. What does the novel say about the way in which we see the world as individuals and the way in which we operate as a society? Is Ash being the center of the universe a metaphor for how he feels before it becomes reality? And discuss the way in which perspectives change as the novel develops and the way in which Shusterman introduces or uncovers new perspectives from other characters. I feel like we didn't really get much of other characters. There was a lot of other characters mentioned and talked about, but we only see them through Ash's eyes, so we don't really know them very well. The whole thing with Leighton felt very I don't know what word I want, surface level, I guess. Like, how am I supposed to see this character? I didn't really understand how I was supposed to feel about Leighton, because on one hand, he's supposedly his friend, and I don't know, I feel like he was trying to say things about abusive relationships without really digging into what an abusive relationship looks like, because there wasn't really a lot of that there, if that makes sense. So I don't know. It was very surface level. I wish, even when Ash becomes Ashley as a girl and is in the relationship with Leighton, it still felt very, I don't know. Leighton went from kind of like too masculine, like toxic masculinity guy, to I'm gonna murder you, like so fast. Like, I don't know what I was supposed to feel about that. I get what he was trying to do with that whole storyline, but I just feel like it wasn't explored enough for me to really understand what were the stakes there. So I don't know. I feel like my answer to almost every single one of these questions is I wish that he did more with this. So I don't know. My rating's probably going to drop to a 3 by the time I'm done with this discussion, just because the more I think on it, I don't know. I feel like this was a book that had a lot of potential. Okay, what do group members think about the choices Ash makes in the novel? Think about the choices we make, choices other people make, choices that are denied to us. I kind of wished that the choices that he makes, I wish that he had more input from other people. I feel like this almost would have been better if, instead of him just asking Katie if she remembers things and that sort of, or Leo, if somehow they could have helped him in some way. Like, this could have been a team effort. I get that Ash is the center of the universe and that's the whole, like, the sublock thing, but I kind of think like we'd have explored more things and it would have been more in depth if he was having regular conversations with them about the stakes and what does this mean and how am I supposed to do this and what will happen, what are the consequences if I do this, and how can I ensure that we do a better job. Like, I feel like that there should have been more discussion situations, because I feel like every time Ash tried to get help, he wasn't really asking for help. He was more making sure he wasn't losing his mind. Which, after the first jump, sure, that makes sense. But once he realized what was going on, I feel like it would have made more sense if this was almost like a Scooby Gang kind of situation where we were getting help from his friends and they were involved in it. I think it would have been a stronger story. You would have been able to have more perspective outside of just the one. And we would have gotten more background information, I think, too, on these other characters and how each universe affected them. Because, especially in the universes where not a lot changed except for Ash, it would have been intriguing to see the effects on other people, because I just feel like we only really saw how it affected Ash. And which was still interesting enough, I suppose, but like it could have been done so much better, I think, if we were getting the dynamic of a friend group and like how everything was affecting everybody else. I don't know. That would have been cool. Oh, this is a question about privilege. I feel like the whole book is about privilege overall. Like, the story is about Ash learning about his privilege and how it affects him, and also how it affects him when he's gay and how it affects him as a girl, and like how the world looks at you differently through those kinds of lenses. But overall, I think that's what the book was trying to do and show. I do think it just got bogged down in a lot of the other stuff. There was just so much stuff happening. But I think that is essentially the book that Neil Shusterman was trying to write and explore is privilege. I just wish it hadn't gotten so bogged down in so many other things. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Edwards some more, the sentient universe. What do you think about the concept of the Edwards and of sentient forces operating within the universe? How does Schusterman portray our place within that universe? This was the first time I think I've ever read a book like this where the universes were trying to like push themselves onto the character as opposed to just like jumping into a different universe. I thought that was a really interesting concept of like him in this in-between place, seeing these universes like trying to come to him and push themselves on him. I really also liked the concept of the Edward who was trying to just end the whole thing. Like if you choose one of those down below universes, it'll be peaceful. He didn't tell him how it was going to be peaceful, just that it'll be better because there's no humans in it. I liked that concept. Like, of course, that's what the universe would want, is just to correct it by fixing it by getting rid of the humans. The humans are the problematic part of it. So I could understand that whole thing with the Edwards. I just, again, wish there was more of it. I mean, overall, I think that's my whole issue with the story, is that it was just not enough for me to sink into. I kept getting excited about a concept and then it would just go away. We jumped to the next universe and it was gone. So yeah, I think that's all the questions I have here. So is there anything anyone else wants to discuss about the book before we wrap that up? Okay. Also, I want to point out that I saw this was optioned for Netflix. Like I read that months ago. They had optioned it before it was even published yet. So apparently this is going to be a show. I mean, I would much rather, if they were going to make a Schusterman show, we either get the Unwind universe or Arc of the Scythe, because I think those would be amazing. But I'm also intrigued about a Game Changer show because it might solve a lot of the problems that I've had with the book, because they'll be able to explore things further and dig in to the concepts more and maybe even show us other perspectives. So I'm super intrigued about it. I don't know anything. I don't know when it's out. I don't know who's cast. I don't think there's any information yet. But I'm very excited to see what comes of it because I feel like it would be potentially a really interesting show. I hope it's a show. I'm not sure if it's a show or a movie. I'm really hoping show, because if it's just a movie, it's not going to solve my problems with this book. It'll still be the same issues. So I'm hoping it's a TV show. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. I do know that there is talk of an Unwind show too, but I don't know where that's going to be or who's optioned it or if it'll ever happen. But I'm so hyped for an Unwind series. I think that would be amazing. I think Arc of the Scythe was supposed to become movies. There's a whole lot of maybes going on in the universe as far as Neil Shusterman stuff goes. Moxie did just come out. I'm gonna try to watch that tomorrow with Sarah, because although she hasn't read the book yet, because I read that book like a year or two ago and I loved it, and I'm very excited to see Moxie as a movie because I think it has potential to be great, and I really like the trailer. So, but yeah, I'm hoping this gets a TV series treatment because I feel like in an episodic show, especially if they do at least 10 episodes, I think it could potentially be really good. Yes, Moxie is a book by Jennifer Mathau, I think is the author's name. It was in one of the family reading crates I did a couple of years ago. I forget the name of it. We need a Shiro, maybe? Was the name of the box? I can't remember, but it was a bunch of like feminist girl stories. But Moxie is so good. It's great. If you grew up in the 90s and the whole Riot Girl scene and that music, and it's going to be great. So, but yeah, definitely looking forward to watching Moxie. So while I'm thinking about it, we're reading this month. Hopefully you guys already have a copy of Last Night at the Telegraph Club. Sarah's already reading it. She's like getting close to finishing it, and then I'll get it from her. So I'm going to aim to read it for the second half of the month so that hopefully it'll be fresh in my mind. Oh, hi, Mickey. I'm glad you showed up at the end. You can go back later and watch the rest of it so you can see our discussion. I think overall it was wishing it was more, wishing there had been more depth, more perspective, more of a lot of things with Game Changer. Still a very good book, though. Just wish could have been a little bit deeper. But anyway, this month we're reading Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I don't know a lot about this still. I know it's historical fiction. I know it takes place in San Francisco in the 1950s, and it has some sapphic romance. And there's some stuff about McCarthyism and stuff. So hopefully we're all going to be able to get a copy and read that this month. And the live show for that is going to be at the very beginning of April, like whatever that first Saturday is. I forget the date off the top of my head, maybe like the 3rd. I'm not sure. That is when the live show is going to be for Last Night at the Telegraph Club. And we'll be able to sit and chat about that book. And Sarah will be back because Sarah ditched me for this month since she did not read Game Changer, was not interested in reading it. And so I'm still hoping I can convince her to pick it up because I want to know what she thinks of it. but for now, she hadn't read it, so that's why she's not here. But she will be joining us in April for the Last Night at the Telegraph Club discussion, if in case anyone was missing her, besides me. So, let me just set this here. The laptop is falling down over here next to me. My setup is awkward right now. I've lost all my filming spots for various things. There keeps piles of things all over my house blocking all of my filming locations. So I'm down to this one, which is a little bit annoying for me because the lighting in here is the worst. And I need to find a good ring light. The one I have hurts me. It feels like I'm getting a migraine when I have it on because I get a weird blind spot because it's so bright, and no matter which direction or which setting I put it on, it's just too bright and it drives me crazy and makes me feel very anxious when I'm using it. So it's terrible. I'm going to figure out some lighting though, because this is my best lighting situation. Put it over my head. I might try that. I don't know if it's tall enough. It's on a tripod and I had it up pretty high. I'm not sure if I can get it high enough to go over my head, but that would be a potential solution. I'll have to try it. But yeah, it's just so bright. And I don't know how people use ring lights because every time I try, it hurts me. Right now I have a spotlight like over in the far side of my room shining this way, but because it's a little bit far away, it's not as bright as it could be, which is annoying. But I will figure it out because I'm determined. I hate the lighting in here. It's terrible. And it drives me crazy. Oh, well. So I hope everyone is reading some historical fiction this month. I have a lot of ideas and plans for things that I want to do for March Through History because I had a huge bunch of cool things I wanted to do last year and then I did none of them. So that was fun. So yeah, I'm hoping I can accomplish the things this year that I was unable to accomplish last year. Like one of the things I'm actually almost done with, I'm gonna film it tomorrow, I think, is a tag. I really wanted to write a historical fiction book tag because there isn't really a good one. The only one I could find was kind of meh. It didn't really do what I wanted it to do. So I decided I was gonna write one. And I did, so I have to film it now. So that's a thing that I'm hoping I can convince people to do because I think it'll be fun. I'm vlogging, but not very well. That I have a vlog I'm gonna probably get up in a day or two, but like honestly, I keep forgetting that I'm supposed to be vlogging, so there's really not a lot going on. But I'm hoping it's not terrible once I start editing. At least it won't take long because there's not much footage. But so yeah, I want to do a tag. I wanted to do I think I'm going to do a video about historical fiction in TV and movies because I watch a lot of that and thought it would be fun to talk about my favorites if anyone was interested in that. So yeah, if there's anything you want me to try to do for historical fiction month, March through history, let me know. Maybe I can try to make it happen. I have a lot of like ideas for things, but not a ton of time to pull it all together. So I'll see what I can pull off. But oh yeah, definitely fit as many books into each prompt as you can. See if you can like combine a way because I'm doing that. I can't read a book for every single prompt, but I can read a few books and cover as many prompts as possible. So I'm all for that. Like I read Grass, which was a graphic novel, and it takes place during World War II. So that counts as both a graphic novel and a war story. And if I was being really finicky, I could also count it as nonfiction because it's a biography / memoir. So that really would count for 3 prompts. But I already had another book I really wanted to read for nonfiction, so I'm going to stick with that. But yeah, definitely do as many books or a few books as you can and count as many prompts per book as possible. So definitely, I'm all for that. Okay, so yeah, I will probably be filming a TV and movie something because that is a thing I feel like I watch a lot of and I just don't really talk much about because I'm never sure if anyone cares. So maybe I'll film that. I'm hoping I have some time tomorrow to film. So that's my plan. So hopefully I'll have some more cool stuff for you guys. So yeah, if there's anything else anyone's interested in, historical fiction wise, let me know and I will see what I can do. I'm probably gonna do at least one more vlog, but I don't think I'm gonna vlog every single week because honestly, it's kind of boring. I don't do anything interesting. Mostly it's just me sitting around saying, hey, I've read some more of this book and here are my thoughts. So I don't know. Vlogging is weird. It's not something I feel like I'm very good at, but I will see what I can do. So I think I'm going to wrap this up unless anyone else has anything they want to talk about as far as Game Changer or March Through History or whatever. But if not, we can just wrap this up a little bit early tonight and we'll be able to hang out again next month. I'm like, wait, what month is it? Yeah. You guys, I'm tired. So anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out with me and chatting about Game Changer. And I will see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.